Okay. I think I got it. Okay, we're ready. Take 5. What's up, everybody? My name is Nino.
I'm Blackberry, and this is Something in Common.
Yes, it
Welcome
is.
to the show.
Welcome. Hopefully we find some things in common throughout this.
Oh, I like that.
That's
the
go.
goal of the show.
Yeah. Mic
we are
drop.
finally here doing this again.
Emphasis on again. But yeah, we've been talking about this for over a year now. I've been super excited. Obviously, I've been like blowing you up, trying to keep all of the juice and excitement inside.
He hasn't been trying that hard.
I've been trying for the most part. Trying. I didn't say that I was succeeding. I said trying.
Yeah,
Progress over
this
perfection.
podcast is like very long overdue.
Yeah.
Because we talk about a lot of stuff, and then we were like the same thing everybody does before they start a podcast. Like, oh my gosh, we should start a podcast.
Yeah. But the only difference is that whenever we do talk about things, like then we'll see it like online. But it's not like a weird like, oh, we just talked about this. Now we're getting an advertisement. It's like someone will tweet about it, and it's like a hit tweet, and I'm like, we just fucking said this.
Yeah, and then we like missed the moment because we could have said it first.
So I think maybe we're super late or we're.
So what do you think is like our goal for this show?
That's a deep question.
Is it?
Yeah. I think it's just to kind of. I think a lot of the conversations that we have kind of stem from either feeling not like a sense of absence or like that we don't belong, but I think we have really deep conversations. So I think the goal is to show that we have something in common, obviously, but hopefully other people have something in common with what we're going through or like what we talk about.
Yeah, that kind of came up like we were thinking about names for the show.
Yeah.
And we had another name. I don't even remember what it was.
I don't remember either.
But you were explaining something and you used the word something in common. I was like, wait, that should be the name.
That's the title, something in common.
Because oftentimes, like, just as humans, we have a lot of stuff that we share. And I think it's important to like, find community and exchange that with people because is that funny?
No, it's not. I'm just thinking like it's so opposite of how we are, like what we're trying to do, like find community and talk to people. Like we don't do that. So I feel like this is like our first step to actually do it. Because every time we have a problem, we're like, yeah, well, I'm not going to do that. Yeah,
because I mean, and the truth is like a lot of stuff that we talk about is like stuff I feel like people, especially our age, can relate to. And I think we're so young and hot,
Yeah, I'm younger, by the way.
By 2 months.
2 years.
Allegedly.
I'm 27.
Oh, okay. Well, would you want to tell the people how we met?
Yeah, we met.
When I was 2 years older than you?
Yeah. I was actually going to make a really inappropriate joke, but I'm not going to go there because they don't know us like that.
We just started this program.
I know. We met because of Nikki. I was going to the Pink Friday Roman Reloaded tour. Had a meet and greet. Went in there. There was like OG Chicago TM that was there. I didn't know that there was, at the time, I really didn't know much about like, I was on Twitter, but I didn't know there was like a following and like you guys hung out and stuff like that. It was always just like, oh, we have online friends. Like, that's how I knew Heidi and like all those other people. And then Nikki followed me and I had the meet and greet picture as my profile picture. Paul found me and then he tagged everyone and then you guys all followed me. And then there was some sort of Nikki oriented task that the Barbs needed to assemble for, and we were all there. And then it's very blurred, but we met in a McDonald's and then we went to the same after school program or during school program.
What year was that? That was at least
2012 because that's when Roman Reloaded came out.
So we've been friends for 12 years.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
It's been long, but it doesn't feel as long.
It doesn't.
Like I can vividly remember us being like 16. Very core memories of us like even taking selfies like in the mirror or like I would always skip gallery sometimes. I don't think that you would, but
I skipped a couple times.
Yeah, I would definitely like just be hanging out downtown.
You want to know? This is so random and off topic, but me and one of my other best friends, you know what we used to do? We used to skip school and go to the library.
Oh.
But we
Are you
went
guys
to
still friends?
yeah,
Why did you guys do that?
because we wanted to, and it's
You
so
can't
dumb.
even talk in the library.
Yeah, but you know the big library downtown, Harold Washington.
Okay.
We went there, got on the computers, and just hung out. Cyber, there's a lot of homeless people in that library.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that I wasn't the friend that you took with you to the library.
Me and her have been friends since like 3rd grade, so it's like,
Yeah.
Shenanigans.
Just like felt cool.
but yeah, I definitely skipped gallery a couple times, but I liked going to gallery, so it wasn't like I never wanted to like skip because I hated it. I just,
I didn't like, I was always good. Honestly, like being a Nicki fan, we're not going to go there, but I'm just going to say, when we were younger, like learning the lyrics was like the thing. Like it was like we wanted to get the verse down, and it helped me remember like cadences. And so when I was in gallery, I was there for theater. It was always easy for me to like remember the lines because I was used to like saying it a certain type of way, and then I'd remember it. So I would always skip like rehearsals.
Just to clarify, gallery is like
A fake.
it's almost like a performance arts type of thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say what is
but
it?
it's like
Element.
It's
What
not
is it?
performance. All of it. It's like
It's like it's just for creative like
kids,
youth. Yeah. Creative youth.
So you leave your regular high school, you go downtown unsupervised to another school, which is not really a school, but it's a building where they teach you things. And you learn stuff. And I was doing graphic design, and you were doing
Theater.
Yeah. So that's what that was. But you said something that made me want. You said something before that. The gallery.
That I would skip because I would skip rehearsals.
I lost my point. That happens a lot.
Okay.
It's okay.
What's next on the agenda?
Okay, so we met as kids. We were like 15, 16.
I was 14.
What do you think is the difference between like making friends as like a child in school versus making friends as an adult? Because I think they're two very different experiences. Not for me. I feel like my experience has been mostly the same. But
really,
yeah,
I'm actually kind of surprised to hear that. Not even just because we're recording, but I'm surprised in general.
Because in school, in elementary school, it was easy for me to make friends. I feel like, I don't know. I went to the same elementary school from 3rd to 8th grade, so it was like
everything combined in one.
When I got to high school, I became a loner, and I've always been a loner, but like I just.
Why did you feel more comfortable stepping into that like space of being like a loner?
I didn't do it on purpose. It just kind of happened. I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't have any friends. I didn't do any extracurricular.
That.
But why? I feel like
that's interesting.
I tell this story all the time. I got voted class mute one year.
That's mean.
It's mean as fuck because the girl that was doing the yearbook stuff, she like surprised. She was like, "Oh, you want to take this picture for the yearbook?" I'm like, "Okay, cool."
And here you go.
The yearbook comes. I'm class mute. I said, "Excuse."
That was your Carrie origin story.
That was literally like how the villain became a villain.
I actually had to think a little bit of a reverse. Like elementary school was a little bit more difficult for me because I didn't play sports. Like I didn't really do like younger boy things, like except for like play with like GI Joes. But like I wasn't really like I wasn't afraid to be in the dirt, but I wasn't really like a boy's boy. And so like a lot of the times like people would be like, I have to ask you a question. But when I got in high school, there wasn't anyone that was even gay in school. Like at that time I was kind of like figuring it out. Like I kind of knew, but I was like maybe not. It was like a weird, sexuality is fluid, right? So it was like we were like juggling the balls literally. So I didn't really get that. Like people just kind of let me be who I was, but I think I was a little bit more outgoing in high school than elementary school.
Yeah, I don't know what it was.
I wasn't mute though, like at all. I would always.
And they voted me class mute. I'm very angry about this, by the way. They voted me class mute, and there's I won't say his name, but I went to school with from 3rd grade up until 12th grade. The same guy. He never spoke to never uttered a word.
So you felt like you.
I felt like.
Was he black?
Yes.
Oh. Well, we can't even use that card. I don't know.
And they I feel like I usurped his like throne because he was actually the more quiet one.
He was challenging you, and maybe he's like somewhere like mad, like.
But he was like,
he's on a podcast telling people, "Can you believe this motherfucker actually did talk and he got it?" Yeah.
Yeah. That was interesting. But making friends as an adult for me is like kind of the same thing because.
Well, how did you make friends before? Because you said that you were mute, so I didn't even get how you made friends.
Whatever friends that I had from elementary school are the same friends that I have now. Some of them.
Okay. What about in your teenage years? Does that like
any friends
different?
after that? Like I made online, like you. Like most of my friends now that I have an adult came from either elementary school or like online, Twitter.
I have such a question. Like I have such a deep question that I'm like, I don't want to go in this rabbit hole. I'll answer that question, like the one that you asked me. But do you think it's important then to make a lot of friends when you're younger because of that reason?
I don't know if it's more important, but I just think it's easier because think about it. You go into the same place every day. You see the same kids every day. Mm-hmm. You make friends based on proximity. Like it's not, you really almost don't have a choice about the type of friends that you make.
Yeah.
But then as an adult.
Good question.
Huh?
I thought of another good question. Okay.
Go ahead.
You know, they always say like the person you're dating, like their friends are not your friends. Mm-hmm. When do they ever become your friends? Because that's proximity. If you're always with, like hanging out with the same group of people.
You're asking somebody who's never been in a relationship. But my philosophy...
I have an answer for that, but I won't get into that.
My philosophy is like, I feel the same way about like work friends. Like,
oh yeah,
I just don't mingle.
A little bit, and it's different because I relocated. That's why. But see, we're touching on other topics that we got, so we're gonna slow down.
Okay.
This is what happens when we're on the phone. I think it's different for me to make friends as an adult, only because I think there's certain like requirements. I think like friendship, like when we're younger, it evolves, right? Like you and I are not still, like we'll talk about like Nicki and like joke and you know whatever, but we're not like, are we gonna wait outside for her album to come out? Like we're not doing that anymore. So, and I think when you're a kid, it's easier to like make those core memory type things versus like as an adult, if I met someone who was also a Nicki fan, I'd be like, oh, okay, cool. But I wouldn't be like, we need to go and buy the album together. Like I would, even if they asked me, I'd be like I already have it, or you know.
Well, because your priorities change. Like when you're a kid, you have no bills, you have no responsibilities. You can do like fun little stuff like that.
I think it's a maturity thing. Like I think even though we're getting older, not everyone is maturing, and so I feel like making friends as an adult is a little bit harder for me, only because I think something in common that we have forced us to mature.
Need a bell every time you say something in common.
Yeah, actually, that would be cool. Oh my God, that's a good idea. Next episode. We really have to get a bell now. I hope you know that.
Who's going to find a bell right now?
We'll find one.
Pull one up on the phone, I guess.
True. So I think it's like a maturity thing because people are getting older, but like not everyone is also growing. And like I think a lot of people have like trauma that they aren't necessarily healing or like addressing. And so they're like projecting it onto you because you may reflect something that they have or don't have, or maybe something that they wish that they did and they just don't realize that they do. So I think it's just a lot more difficulty in that space.
Well, just to put a button on like how I make friends as an adult, it kind of just has to happen organically. Like I have to like,
you have to genuinely have something in common,
literally,
and not just like a bullshit like, oh, I like the same artist or you know.
And as an adult, I've made friends online. Mm-hmm. That's primarily like how I meet people. But
would you call those? Oh. I've made friends too online, like Instagram. Like I've known people for like around COVID, I would say, because that's kind of like when I didn't blow up, but like I just got more followers, and so like we kind of feel like we know each other. Mm-hmm. But even like when I hang out with them, like I wouldn't say they're my friends. Like I would call them, but I'm just like, we're cool.
Well, for me, those people have stuck around, so they have become my friends. Okay. Like
But do they live in Texas? Like, do they live there? Is that why? Mm-hmm. Okay, well then that makes sense. Like, most of these people live in California.
Yeah, but I have a lot of like online friends I've never met. But like, I really like these people. They know some of my business. I know some of theirs. But like, they're not like us, like best friends. But like,
I almost feel like you have to keep them though, like online. Like, I have a friend. Can I say names on here?
If you want to.
I mean, he might watch it, whatever. His name is Aaron. We met through LinkedIn.
Which I think
Um,
is so strange. Like, is that really
LinkedIn is
social
not a
media?
classy party, by the way. If you look good, the gays will find you.
Okay, it's Tinder for professionals.
Yeah, except I was the one that kind of like jumped into Aaron's DM. Anyways, but
Okay.
we didn't. He was in a relationship, so but he was
Yeah.
super respectful. But like he and I, we talk. We have like phone dates, and like we'll be on the phone for like 3-4 hours at a time.
Do
But
y'all plan these dates?
Sometimes we'll be like, hey, like phone call at like on Tuesday, or like some shit like that. But sometimes like he could just call me or text me or be like, yo, like, do you have time to chat? And it's not like, it doesn't need to be a super long convo. But you made me lose my train of thought. Anyways, I almost feel like he and I would be different. Like if we met, like I almost love how much attention we give each other because we're not so close to one another, like physically.
That's interesting.
So I almost feel like that relationship, not that it wouldn't survive outside of like the social or like whatever social media space, but
Well, speaking of the survival of friendships, like how do you expect your friendships to evolve as an adult? Because you talked about like, you know, some people don't mature or they mature at a slower rate.
yeah.
Do you expect like a lot of evolution in the friendship?
Uh,
Do you expect evolution in the friendship or of the person?
I think we have to define what evolution means. Like, I think that we as people individually, we're always like evolving, even if we're
I
not
hope so.
growing. Like we're still changing. Like whether it's physical, whatever. Like in the literal sense, we're always changing. But I think it just comes down to like the type of conversations that we're having. Like we're approaching a milestone age soon.
I'm pushing 30. I have no qualms about my age.
As am I, because I'm 27, and so I think that it's, I don't know. I think I just like would want our conversations to grow. Like I don't think that you and I would be friends if we were only talking about like the easy stuff, like the little kid stuff, or like gallery, or like
I mean, I think that helps the relationship grow. But for me, like, I definitely have friends who like have not evolved as like people, and I still have them as friends. But like,
why
they're like, I mean, because I don't. I mean,
you don't like my,
if they haven't done anything wrong to me, I
Yeah.
don't have a need to just be like, oh, you're not evolving. I'm done with you. It's just like
Well,
I
maybe
know where to
not-
put you now.
Oh, okay. That was gonna ask you. Like, okay, so you have like you do prioritize them a little bit differently. Like,
Yeah.
okay, that's fair. Yeah, I would say the same thing too. Then I think it's what really becomes difficult is if you are used to evolving with a friend, and then like they suddenly stop, and then you have to like take that. What?
Closer
I'm
to
too
the
far.
mic.
Oh, okay. Is it better? This is clearly my first time doing this. Yeah, I feel like if it's harder if you have to take them out of that space and then put them into like a different like category. I think that's where the real challenge comes from because then they're gonna feel the shift, and then it's like, how do you,
Have you ever had to like explicitly break up with a friend?
Yeah, several friends actually.
What is that conversation like?
Well, I'm very straightforward, so it's not super difficult for me. I think really what I have a challenge with is like the delivery, not so much the message. But I usually just let them know like, hey, I don't really have a lot of time to dedicate to this friendship because I'm focused on other things.
If I'm done with a friend, I'm just kind of like,
But I'll tell them why. Like I'll be specific. Like, I won't be vague and just be like, yeah, I'm too good. Like that's not what I'm trying to give. But like okay, I'll give you an example.
Okay.
He and I actually we rekindled. He was a really good internet friend of mine, and we met in person, and we had a great time. And not like that, because you're giving me the look.
I'm just looking. Oh my God.
Not like that. But I just felt like the type of conversations we were having weren't like contributing to anything. It was just like mostly kind of like gossip, or like it just was non-productive. It was like, it felt like a waste of time. Like we were nurturing our relationship, but it wasn't like bearing any fruit. You know what I mean? It's like we were watering the dirt with no seeds in it. It was just weird. So I just told him, because he kept reaching out, and I was like either super busy or I wouldn't like call him back, and so like he wasn't used to that. And then finally I just told him like, I don't think that this like friendship is like going anywhere because of X, Y, and Z. and he was super receptive to it. And then he got his life together, but we never stopped like being nice to each other or like cordial or anything like that. He got his life together, and now we're on better terms.
The only times I've had to like explicitly like dump a friend is if we had an issue.
Did it hurt? You know, my best friend that I had for like 12 years, she even went to like my mom's funeral and everything. I do not miss that girl.
Yeah, it's just
She's
like
probably gonna see this too. I don't miss you, girl. Okay.
some people is just like, now some friendships like they just kind of dissolve, and sometimes I feel like everybody
But mutually dissolves.
Yeah.
Like it's like a two-way thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
like everybody doesn't need like a big thing to be like, oh, we don't have to be friends anymore, right? But like if you did something to like offend me, and like let's say there's a repeated offense, then I've definitely been in situations where I'm like, this is no more. And that's pretty much, I'm very much like, because once it takes me a lot to like finally use my voice sometimes. So when I get there, it's very much like, you're done, and then I exit. It's like, it's not.
But
a
are
whole
you
thing.
bottling stuff up then? Because you said like it
I'm a
takes you long
bottler.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're the friend that needs to get cut off.
Why?
Because why would you buy? Like, I would want to know. Like, I would want to. I hate. Actually, I have like a pet peeve with that. Like, I hate like any type of relationship where someone like bottles things up and like doesn't say things along the way. To me, like you don't value the relationship, because like why would you bottle things up?
I mean,
And to me, it feels like you're building up something because you like you know that you're gonna eventually explode. So it's like, why would you do that?
I don't look at it that way. I look at it like,
Because you're a bottler.
I mean, that goes back to like, you know, if we want to do some armchair therapy, like a lot of childhood trauma, like just the way I was brought up is just like, just keep it to yourself. If it needs to come out, it needs to come out. I'm not like bottling it up to keep receipts to be like, and on this date you did this, and on this date you did this. Like, it's more so like, if it's not very serious, I'm gonna pick my battle. I'm not just gonna battle about everything.
Yeah.
And
well, actually, you just brought up a really good point, which was like that childhood like repression and all that other stuff, right? Like I just talked about that, like not for you in a bad way, but like that just goes to show like even you as an adult, like you're still working on something. So like if I didn't know that and you were someone who bottled things up and like doesn't say anything, I would probably cut you off. But that's like me, like removing me as your friend. I would be like, well, he doesn't ever talk about anything that's wrong. He's just always popping off. Like, I'm not going to be his friend. And I feel like it fuels like whatever trauma that you do have, because you're like, nobody wants to listen to me.
I don't ever pop off on you.
I said removing me.
No,
I'm not the, yeah, you don't. Because I feel like when something bothers you, you'll tell me eventually.
But I also think it depends on the level of friendship, because
True.
if we're like friends, and I know I can say anything to you and we can bounce back from this, then I don't have a problem with it. But I'm also not gonna have a problem with everything.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
That makes sense.
Like some stuff, like sometimes like your friends can piss you off, and then you can just be like, I'm gonna be pissed off about this, but this is not worth fighting about. Like it has to, for me, it has to be egregious for me to be like, you.
What
bitch.
about bickering? Maybe not fight, but like I'm very like, yeah, I'm a little bit of a bicker. Not like criticize bicker, but like if you do something that I think is just stupid, like I would be like, you're fucking stupid.
Yeah, and then sometimes you'll tell me about people you bicker with, and I'm like, you should really mind your business.
I've learned. No, I've actually. That was actually really good advice. I've learned the hard way.
I think a lot of times it comes down to that. But like speaking of like taking breaks from friendships and stuff, we kind of had a break.
We did.
And it
wasn't because of anything bad.
No,
though.
nothing happened.
No,
we just
nothing
kinda
happened. I think after we graduated, I feel like we were still kind of like, a lot of the times that we did hang out, it was because of gallery, like being after school and all that stuff. So everything that we did was like you said, it was proximity and it was just convenient. I don't remember what I know that I actually got into a relationship, but even then we were still talking. We were still like, we weren't like, it wasn't radio silence. I think we didn't have radio silence until I got into like my other relationship, which was in 2016.
Yeah. Do you remember how we met again? Because we hadn't seen each other in a long time either.
Yeah, I didn't see you for like maybe like 2-3 years, I think.
Yeah.
But we still followed each other on social media and stuff like that.
Because I remember.
I do remember I do think I was drunk.
Probably.
And
I probably was as well. Because
Yeah, I
otherwise,
seen you at
I'm going to be honest, I probably wouldn't have said nothing to you if I was sober.
Really?
Yeah, I probably
Why?
would have just.
I was the one who came up to you though.
No.
Yes, yes,
No.
I did.
Do you remember where we were?
I remember us being at Progress,
Mhm.
and I remember like saying hi to you, and then like, I think I asked for your number.
I don't remember the conversation, but we were at Progress is a gay bar
You
in Chicago. But I saw you walking towards the back, and I stopped
No, was it the back? I
You
thought
were-
I thought it was going out. So
you.
know
You
how they
were
have, like,
going
those bubbles?
somewhere, but I remember stopping you.
Okay.
And
I
then
don't
that's what
remember. I thought I stopped you, because then I do
No.
remember you saying like you were very surprised to see me, and you were like, "Oh, what are you doing out?" That I do remember.
Yeah.
And then I told you I was like, "Oh, I'm single now."
Yeah.
And you were like,
remember
"Oh."
you saying that.
Yeah.
I'm sure I stopped you though.
Okay. Well.
Either way, that's kind of what kicked off, like, I think our real friendship.
Yeah.
Because we were grown, young but grown.
We were grown. We definitely weren't like 18. I think
we
obviously if
we had
were
to
out, we
be
were
21
Yeah.
to be in the club.
Well,
but-
not really. But we were. I'm pretty sure we were 21.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, yeah, I was 21 because actually no, I was 22
Okay.
because that was in 2019.
Okay. So do the math.
Is your following smart? Yeah. So I was 22 because it was that summer that I started going out because we separated in June.
And then not long after that, we I think I moved not long after that, right? Like, we started hanging out and stuff, and then I moved shortly thereafter. Or you moved to a new place.
Not yet.
No?
No, I was at that place. And then when we did your podcast, like when you were like, it was still kind of like very, very like infant stage.
Mm-hmm.
And you had brought, I think his name was Marcos or Mark. You brought a bunch of people over.
It was a lot of people on that show, that episode.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot the name of the episode, but
That was
Probably.
when you guys all came over. But before then, I don't remember. No, I think I called you crying one time.
Really?
Yeah. You don't remember that? I think I called you crying one time. That's actually, I think, how we started getting closer because I was like going through that breakup. And then I remember like kind of like
Venting?
talking to, yeah. So actually, he doesn't know this, so I'm going to share it with you now. That's why I said I'm going to save some stuff for the podcast.
I don't like surprises.
It's a surprise. I mean, you may chop it out. I don't know if you whatever you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But either you stopped me or I stopped you. I'm pretty sure I stopped him. I think after my breakup, so much of myself was lost that it felt really comforting to run into someone that like knew me for real. Even if you didn't know me like as an adult yet. But I was still kind of figuring, I mean, I was 22, so I was like still trying to figure that out too.
Yeah.
I think it just felt really comforting, and I think I needed it. Like, you felt very like safe, not like in a vampire way where I wanted to like steal the comfort from you, but I definitely felt like I needed that space at the time.
Yeah.
And so I know that I called you many, many times
Probably.
with lots of stories and lots of tears and lots of everything. So I think that's where we kind of, I think you felt, I mean, I can't speak for you, but at the time I felt like you felt like I trusted you. And I think that you felt like I would take your advice. And yeah.
Well, that's an interesting segue because I want to know, like, how do you expect your friends to show up for you? Like, when you're going through tough times, like a breakup or whatever,
Yeah.
like, do you expect like certain things, certain gestures from certain friends, or do you know?
Well, I think in the beginning you were like, you didn't know what to do because like we were just started and you were like, oh, okay, well, I guess we're doing this. And you kind of just rolled with it, but I didn't really have an expectation. Like, I didn't think like, oh, Freddie better answer the phone or Freddie better like be there for me. It was just like, I don't know. I can't just
It
needed
just kind of
someone.
happened. I'm more of a
Yeah.
listener. Like, when people come to me with stuff, I'm just
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. But I will say, if I come to you with the same problem over and over, even if you're still listening, you'll be like, oh, we're still on this. Or, oh, you didn't fix this. Like, it's like the subtle things where it's
Yeah.
almost like you look forward. And this is just like me. You don't even know this, but like for me, it feels really nice whenever I'm on the phone with you because it's almost like you're keeping me in check without keeping me in check because it makes me question like, well, why haven't I fixed this yet? Like
Mm.
if Freddie is saying like, oh, like just like the little grunts, like I'm very like mindful, like, all right, well, if I'm gonna call him with some bullshit, then I need to make sure like I know that I'm on bullshit. So you're that friend. You
Okay.
keep people in line, but not in like a very strict or like mean way. Like to the point where if I call you, like I'm like, all right, I know you're gonna yell at me, but I'm gonna tell you this anyway.
I wonder if my other friends feel like that, because I can think of one friend like right now where I've literally had to tell this person like, you have decided to not address this problem and you keep coming to me
You
with
said
it.
it just like that?
I said it worse. I said it harsher actually. I was like, you keep coming to me about this and you keep doing the same thing. I don't want to hear about it no more.
How did they react to that?
I haven't heard about it.
But do they still talk to you about like other things? Really?
But it's more so like even with this specific problem, like even if it comes up in conversation, I just kind of like, I don't respond, or
Okay.
because it's like, what am I gonna do for you that you're not doing for yourself? Like, you want me to show up for you and like keep listening to this same problem over and over again, and you're not doing anything to change the situation.
So at what point do you, as a friend, you're showing up for this friend? There isn't really maybe an expectation at all that this person has for you to show up for them, but you've decided to do it, and you've listened.
I wish I could say what the problem was, because then you would understand why I don't want to hear about
Cut
it.
the
no more.
cameras, dead ass.
But
even if topic aside, whatever it is, the point is that you're still showing up for someone. So like, at what point do you then pull yourself back to say, I've showed up for you enough, and me withdrawing doesn't make me a bad friend?
I don't
Or is
know.
it more of just like an annoyance thing? Like, all right, I've fucking heard this already.
It's kind of like an annoyance thing almost. It's like, you're probably calling me to talk about this. I'm not going to answer. After I've told you that I don't want to talk about this again. You know what I'm saying? Or,
I've given friends a heads up before. Like, if we're going to talk, like, I will text them, like, I don't want to talk about this if you call me.
Oh, maybe I should start doing that. But like my friends in general, like
I used to do that to you, actually.
Really? Did I?
You don't remember that?
No.
I didn't tell you, like, I'm not talking about that. I would tell you, can I call you? And you'd be like, oh, you're going to talk about the breakup? And I'd be like, maybe. And you'd be like, I guess I got 10 minutes. And then we'd be on the phone for an hour.
More like 3.
Sometimes, depending on the night.
You know what? Sidebar. There's a time difference. Speaking of adult friendships, like we live.
There wasn't a time difference yet. You didn't live in
But I'm
Texas
talking about
yet.
now.
I haven't gone through no breakup really.
No,
like
but I'm
that.
talking about in general. You
About
will
to throw
call
under
me
the bus already.
at,
Damn.
like, it'll be 8 p.m. your time, but it'll be 10 my time, and that's my bedtime. Like, I'm not going to sleep, but I'm like not on the phone.
I don't know if that's this one, adulting. Is that this episode or no? Okay, well, talking about adulting, I don't really have a bedtime yet. I don't have a routine in that sense. So
I don't have a routine, but I like to be in bed doing nothing by a certain time for sure.
Well, I didn't know that answering the phone for your friend that's in need.
Yeah, but it's different because
something.
like sometimes if a friend that is not you will call me at 11 p.m. my time, I know, depending on the friend, how long this conversation is going to last. When you call me, I know we're going to be on the phone for a long time.
Yeah, but it takes 2 to tango.
It's because I don't want to just hang up
Because even
in your
if
face.
you don't, well, you know what? That's news to me.
That is not news to you, girl. I tell you all the
No,
time,
yeah,
like,
you
okay,
do.
Anthony,
do.
and then we'll be on the phone for 30 more minutes. All right.
But then you'll add to it. No, he'll add to it. So it's not just like I'm over here talking to myself. He'll add to it. He definitely will. It's like
I mean, that's true, but
it's a mutual thing for sure.
But that's also a part of me showing up for my friends. Like sometimes I have conversations when I don't feel like talking.
Do you feel like your friends show up for you the way that you show up for them?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I don't really require a lot though.
That wasn't the question.
But what I'm saying is like they
with
show
the little
up,
bit that you do require, do they show up?
Yeah.
All of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because if I felt like they didn't show up for me, they wouldn't be my friend.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Like they do and I don't ask for much. I don't come to people with like, do I come to you with a lot of stuff or like? Because
you don't come for me for anything really. Like I kind of have to pull things out of you, and even like if you call me just to call me, like I'm very like, what's going on?
I get
like,
that from everybody.
Yeah.
Like anytime I call somebody
I actually
first,
hate
they're
that
like,
about you though.
why?
I didn't ever told you that. I hate that. I hate that. Like whenever you call me, I'm like scared.
So I should probably call more.
Yeah, I think you should call more.
I mean, it's again a little armchair therapy. Is just like I'm just so used to like doing and dealing on my own. So me calling people is like I always get that like, girl, what's going on? I'm like, nothing. I just want to say hi. Like they're like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm fine.
Yeah. Do you feel like you need like a little bit of like a rebellious era where you're just like doing those type of things that like we used to feel uncomfortable with? So remember last night when I was telling you like sometimes I go on dates if I want to get some food. I was never like that. I used to be super proud and like I could buy my own food and like I would go out on these dates and I would pay for them just because I was like, I don't know who they're gonna say, like, you know, whatever. And so like part of me killing my ego was by doing that. Like, okay, fine, I'll let you pay for it. Or I'll let you do something. And like if you tell people you pay for the date, I don't give a fuck.
I mean,
so I think maybe with you doing the opposite, like I'm in my rebellious era, like I'm
but does
gonna
that
reach
really
out and I'm gonna ask for people.
Does that require a rebellion, or does that require me just letting my guards down?
Well, I'm trying to help you, like, break the wall without knowing that you're breaking the wall. Sometimes you have to trick your mind. It's all about perspective.
It takes a lot of work for me to allow people to do things for me.
What's the fear? Like,
there's no fear. It's just all pride.
What's the pride for?
I don't know. That's why I need therapy.
Are you in therapy?
No.
Well, there you have it. You've heard it here first.
I need to be in therapy. Well, I don't.
I think we all. No,
I think we all could use therapy.
Yeah.
I don't think I need to be in therapy. Like I'm functioning as an adult right now. I'm pretty.
But a lot of people are functioning. I think there's a difference between functioning, surviving, and actually living. I would say that you're a little bit on the cusp.
I'm definitely surviving and not thriving.
I wouldn't say that you're not thriving. We're gonna get into other episodes, but there's things that I want to say about that. But no, but you're definitely thriving.
Do you have any boundaries with friends? Like I was just saying to you, like, oh, my bedtime is 10 p.m. So now he knows.
I don't have those. I don't have rules with my friends like that because I'm not a criminal like you. I want to make sure that they feel like they can call me whenever. No, I'm just kidding. I know if I called you, definitely call me whenever. Yeah, no. If I called you at 3 a.m, I know you'd be like, girl, what the fuck you would answer, but I know like it would have to be important because if it's not, you would be fucking pissed and you probably would ignore me for like a week.
I wouldn't ignore you. I would probably just call you back the next day or like 2 days later and be like, what
depending on what it was. Like if I feel like if I called you for a bad dream, you'd be like, okay, like I'll be there for you. But like if I called you, just be like, I can't sleep. I just wanted to talk. You'd be like, okay, well I have to work. So I think that'd be different. But rules. I think for us as gay men, we have to have certain boundaries with friends if we're not sexually attracted to them, or if we want to create some sort of established, I guess you'd call it a boundary. Like if you're dating and maybe you guys did have a sexual past together and like, you know, whatever. So I do have certain friends that I have boundaries with, but they're not like things that we've discussed. I think it's just kind of like obvious. Like I have a really close friend that I started off dating and we're not dating anymore, but obviously we've had sex before. But like if I brought him around to my partner, like he doesn't even do it now, but like he wouldn't like grab, like try to touch me or like, you know, like be too like cuddly or touchy, you know? So that type of thing.
It's strict around here. Like
we know. I try to like just hug you and you were like, okay.
I'm not the touchy friend. I'm not the
I think that you secretly like it though.
I respect it because I respect like the way other people show love, and I'm like, okay, I get it, but like, get off me, right? One of my boundaries came up recently, but it came up on accident because it wasn't even like the person didn't even actually do anything wrong, but I don't like pop-ups. Like you can't pop up at my house.
Oh, okay. Well, I think that's normal, unless like let's say like they don't live there like in the same state. Like I feel like if I came to pop up like to surprise you, like, oh surprise, I'm here, I think that'd be different. But I also feel like I wouldn't have an expectation of you to like now accommodate me into your like the rest of your day once I show up. That's different. But just to say hi, like was he just trying to say hi or what?
I don't know. But
you don't know. Did you send him home?
he was in the area joking with me that he was at my door.
Oh, I remember.
And I
this.
almost kind of like went, no, that was a different situation.
Okay, so lots
So this
of people
one I
like
didn't
to
even
pop
tell you
up on
about, but
Okay.
but he didn't even do anything. I was like, but I
Hmm.
kind of like snapped at him. I was like, you don't pop up at my house. Like, what are you doing? Like, I just, it's just the thing that I have. Like, also like,
You're very old school.
yeah, I'm like my mama.
You know, I know this is not on topic, but I want you to like take a note of that. I want you to write that down actually,
Okay.
for the other episode that we have, because it's very interesting that you say that. But
Every day I'm realizing I am my mother's child.
don't
Okay,
don't
we'll
push the
get,
top. Okay,
we'll
yeah,
get back
next
to that.
topic.
But as far as boundaries, it's like I'm very much like, yeah, you get to do this, you don't get to do that. Like
Yeah.
if you come in my house, you don't get to move things around. You know.
But see, like to me, those things are obvious. Like if honestly, only my white friends, whenever they come over, like they'll go through my drawers and stuff, and like I'll be like, "What are you doing?" Like, "Oh, I just want to see," and I'm like, "Why?" Like you can like don't go through my stuff. But I think those are like very it's just cultural difference. But I think those are like very obvious to people who have brains. Like you don't like
Yeah.
I would never like we've been friends for over 12 years, but I would never go to your house and be like, I just want to look into your drawers and see what's in there.
But you could because we're
No, it'd be
friends.
different if you were like, if I was like, hey, can I get some socks? And you'd be like, yeah, they're in the second drawer.
Oh, okay.
Like that's different. But me just to pop over and be like, oh, I'm just gonna go through your stuff.
because to me, like,
Even
it's like
so you be
sometimes,
going
like,
through people's stuff.
I don't
That's
go
what
through
I'm
people's
getting.
stuff.
No, you be going
I
through
don't go
people's
through
stuff.
people's
You
stuff.
be
When I
going
go to
through
people's
people's
house,
stuff.
I don't even like touching things. Like I've been here in your home, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
like prancing around.
I mean,
But,
I
like,
left you here alone, and like I didn't like worry like, oh my god, he's gonna go through my stuff.
right because we're like,
But even if you did, I wouldn't care. I would probably just ask you like, if you were like, oh, why do you have this in your drawer? I'd be like, why were you going through my drawer? But this is why I have it.
the only thing that I did go in for earlier was like I saw the disinfectant wipes and I needed to use those.
Oh,
So-
that's nothing.
But like my friends will come over and like, well, my one friend that
Mm-hmm.
my one like real friend that I have in Texas, he'll come over and like he might see something sitting on the tub and it's like, well, you in my house. This is what it is. Like,
Well, I remember too when I came over in August, and I was just like, wow, like, did you forget I was coming over? And you were just like, this, you're in my house. And I was like, okay, fair enough, I get
but
it.
you know what? Another thing that just popped up, like as far as a boundary, like I don't want to hang out with you and your man.
No, I don't like that, but I didn't know that was a boundary.
I
But
don't
what
wanna
if?
do it?
But do you think it's because you've been like third wheeled before?
Yeah, and I hate being an extra wheel.
Well, that's different. But I like, what if it was? See, we're also at the age now where I feel like if we're dating, it should be serious. So like, if I invited you somewhere, I'd probably invite you, like, to have dinner. Like, I wouldn't invite you to like, oh, we're gonna go to like Six Flags, and I'm like holding hands with my boyfriend, and you're just like in the back. You know what I mean? Like, that's a little bit different. I think I'd have you more in a serious setting, because if I have you around him, it's because like I want you to like know
I mean,
him.
that's
and, you know?
fine, but like, let's keep it short and sweet. You know, I'm not into like hanging around couples. I'm not.
That's reasonable. That's reasonable. I mean, I don't really mind it though. Like, I don't. Sometimes I don't mind third wheeling because it gives me like an opportunity to like find someone for the day.
Well, we kind of talked about this earlier, but this might be a good place to end. What?
Mhm.
How do you know when it's time to end a friendship? Besides, like having like a quarrel with them or
Yeah.
something.
Ooh, it's like I feel like this is such a cop out answer, but I feel like you feel it.
Yeah.
Like you just don't feel the same around them.
Yeah.
You feel really uncomfortable, or you just feel like
Icky Vicky.
yeah, like you just feel ick.
Yeah.
Like I even had a friend, like you said, like it doesn't need to be a quarrel, but I had the friend that I was with, or new friends with, whatever the fuck I'm trying to say, for 12 years. Her, even after we like had a conversation to fix it and like we were starting over, it wasn't so much like, oh, I don't forgive you. Like I genuinely like didn't really care. I was just kind of like, what the fuck is going on with you? And then like once we had that conversation, I still didn't like, it still didn't feel right.
Yeah.
But I've had friends now in my adulthood, like when I went to Texas last time, who I've like fallen out with, and we've talked now, and like I don't feel that way around them anymore. So that's how I know. Like I'm trusting the energy, I guess. That's
Yeah.
such a like. I feel like it's such a woke cop out answer because there's no like solidified.
I'm
way
kind of
to-
like having a situation with a friend where I'm like, I think this is the end. I think we've come to a crossroads.
Maybe you need
because-
some space though.
The thing is, for me, it's like we were talking about, like, what do you need from a friend? Like, I don't require a lot, but then the least you can be is considerate.
Fair.
And if there's been a repeated pattern of a lack of consideration, I think you're getting
repeated
chopped.
offenses are not good.
And I also don't like if I feel like I'm forcing it. Like if I feel like this is like a phony hangout or whatever, it's just like, oh, okay. Then we're just not friends like that anymore, and we don't need to keep doing.
How long
this.
have you guys been friends for? Or
A
is that
few
too
years.
revealing? If we okay,
Just a few years.
a few years.
Yeah.
Are you the type of person where if you're having like that type of like hiccup, would you like invite them out? Like, hey, let's go get dinner. Like, I want to talk
The
about
thing
a
that
few
made me
things.
the thing that made me realize it was a chop was
I like how you said you think it's time to end it, and now you're telling me like it's a chop. Okay, got it.
the thing that made me realize like this might not be worth pursuing as a friendship. Like I did that, but it wasn't on the premise like, hey, let's talk about X, Y, and Z. It was just like me like, I don't know if this is fair, but I was just like, well, let me just hang out with them and see what's about to happen. And I
what
kind of
happened?
got the answer that I needed. It's
Oh,
just like,
okay.
we're just not friends like that. Like,
Was it a gut feeling too? Like
It was
I
a
talked
gut
about.
feeling.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So then I think you'll just know. Then I think
Yeah.
you'll just feel it. But that's like to end it on a more like bubbly note. You guys probably noticed that there's balloons behind Frederick. I don't know if I'm supposed to use your real name, Blackberry.
it's fine. Everybody knows my name.
Okay. But yeah, I kind of joked with him that when he came, I was going to get him balloons. And then he seemed really annoyed by the idea. So I was like, yeah, I definitely am going to get balloons now. And then he added to the joke by saying, like, when you get me, make sure that you're playing Stupid Ho. So I
By
was
Nicki
like,
Minaj, the queen of rap.
yeah. And so I was like, you see, but like, actually, wait. See, this is why we get so deep. This is what we do. Because it's stuff like that in our adulthood
Yeah.
that we can like dabble in from our childhood and still have fun with it. And like, it doesn't
Not
feel
be stuck there.
we're not stuck there. Love that. Okay, that's what evolution is. I think this is coming full circle now.
Yeah.
But also enough to where like I can annoy him.
Yeah.
And like it, because I like literally put them in the front seat. So as soon as he opened the door, he was just like, "You're ridiculous." And I was like, I kind of love that. But then I asked him, I was like, "Do you like this?" And he was like, "I love it that you love it." And I was like, "Well, I only loved it because I thought I was gonna annoy you."
And I like that you thought it was going to annoy me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it did. He just didn't want to give me that satisfaction. So instead, I made him put the balloons behind him.
But
for
see,
this
the
friendship
thing
episode.
for me is, and without getting like too far off topic, is like, I'm not super emo. I'm not like I'm full of emotions. I'm an Aquarius, and I do blame my zodiac for a lot of it, but I also blame my upbringing for a lot of it. Like I'm not
Yeah.
super emo. I'm not super expressive with my emotions. So acts of like gestures like this is like, oh, thanks. Like, you remember
Yeah.
that video of that little boy? He was like, nah, avocado, thanks. It's like,
Yeah.
thanks so much. Like, I know that
You
this is your
almost
way of
don't know
showing-
what to do with it.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, this is not in this episode, but just to kind of like tag along
Foreshadow.
off of what you're saying. Yeah. Someone gave me a lot of emotions, shared a lot of emotions with me, and I'm usually like really good with those things. But it took me like a few days to like decompress them. And then it made me realize like, wow, like I really don't know what to do with this. Like I have no idea how to process this. Then I felt really sad about it because I didn't know what to do with it. Not that giving you balloons would make you
Yeah.
sad, but it just makes sense, like how it could feel foreign and you're just kind of like, okay. But yeah, but I loved, when I was a kid, I used to live across the street from a balloon shop. And so I love
Oh.
getting balloons, and I still love balloons.
I think balloons are fun for children, you know?
When I was a kid, you see? I mean, even now, but even on my
I'm
birthday.
30.
No, I'm 27. But yeah, great first episode.
Well, if you guys enjoyed this, please come back. Make sure you check us out on the YouTube at Blackberry.
And if you didn't enjoy it, come back for the second one because maybe you might enjoy that one. Maybe you didn't have something in common in this one because you're a pussy and you don't have any friends.
Yeah, we were kind of working out the kinks this first episode, quite literally.
I think that it went pretty well though overall.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, I'm Blackberry. You can follow me on Instagram at Blackberry BLACCB RRY.
Yeah, I don't have any social media I want you to follow me on.
Thank you guys so much. Goodbye.